What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the cast right here at Celestia Radio. It is your host, Matthias, with my co-hosts, the ever wonderful, ever awesome Dalit and Nat. How we doing, boys?
G'day everyone, I'm doing well.
Really had a long chat about Bleach, and it always gets me all worked up. But other than that, I'm fine.
I thought you were gonna say hot, like you did a couple weeks ago.
I mean, Dollar is hard, but you know that's a
No,
like
that's
you were
different
melting.
no, actually, it's really comfortable outside.
And I was gonna be right there with you because it's been terrible.
Oh, really?
Oof,
So
that's unfortunate.
like I for our listeners who don't know, just so that hopefully our audio is better for you since we're an audio only podcast, I have all my fans and everything turned off, so there's no background noise or anything annoying like that. If y'all ever come by my streams, you will hear my AC running in the back. It's very obnoxious, so I make sure that's not on when we record. And it's been off for less than 5 minutes, and I'm already dying.
Yeah,
Hot.
Damn.
yeah, it'd be like that.
So I thought I was going to be able to commiserate with you for a minute, but
No, it's actually really comfortable here. I mean, it's been warm, but no, our heat has passed, and may it stay gone until next year. It'll be back.
Yeah, it's also-
We had a
August
couple-
always fucks us up one more time before we actually get to autumn.
Mhm.
I mean, we had a couple moments where it felt nice in the last week or so. We had a moment today. I went to lunch today with my nephew and his fiance, wife. I can't remember exactly who signed the papers for it, whatever. But they're engaged, if anything. I went to lunch with them and their little guy, and we were sitting outside for a minute at the restaurant because there was a nice cool breeze. It was cloudy, cool breeze. We're like, hey, this feels pretty good. That was because it was about to start pouring down rain. So when we saw that, we're like, hey, we're going into
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, it's hot. But we're not here to commiserate about weather. We're here to talk about things we always talk about. That's video games. We almost always talk about. Yeah, game engines.
I don't play video games, so I have no idea what the fuck these guys are on about.
It's true. He only plays this really crappy thing called Kingdom
Shut the fuck up, cunt.
Hearts.
I don't play video games. I experience cinema.
Oh,
Absolute cinema.
Yeah.
Everything up to fucking Dream Drop Distance is absolute cinema for Kingdom Hearts, and then things nosedive. Yeah.
Of all the responses you could have given that, you could have just been like, you get no room to talk. You just spent the last 45 minutes to an hour defending Bleach. And I would have had nothing to say.
Bro, only an hour? Bro, I'm pretty sure it's been like 2 hours, mate. Yeah, we just
we
wasted
were-
2 hours of fucking conversation.
We were
and
here
none of
for
us
a
hit fucking
minute.
record.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all
Yeah.
we all showed up really early today. It was really surprising.
I'm gonna be honest. We were here at like 6:45. At time of recording, it is 9:00.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking for a bit. The Yap session was intense.
Hey, but both of the things we were talking about are semi-tangential related to what we're gonna be talking about this episode. Guys, let me lay down the foundation for you. So I play these things called video games.
You do.
I play a lot of them.
You do.
I don't like the way you said that. I play a lot of video games, and there's this thing. You see it in single player games. But you can ignore it in single player games
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
it's single player, and with single player games, you never actually have to interact with other people whatsoever. Even if you do, even if you use a guide for said single player game, you can generally just avoid people interaction.
Right.
And avoid this problem. But it exists there too to a lesser extent. But I play a lot of games that are in some way, shape, or form online-esque, or tangentially online, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
And they all have this one concept, and it's not even just in video games. You see it in tabletop games like Dungeons and Dragons and stuff too. It's in card games, that's for sure. It's in trading card
Yeah.
games.
Oh yeah, it is.
Jeez, is Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic ruled by it?
Yeah.
It's this thing called meta. What is the meta? What is the de facto? This is the best way to play this thing out there.
Yeah.
I hate it. It annoys me to no end. It pisses me off so much that, like, first off, it exists in this state where if you aren't doing it, people will not allow you to have fun with the game you're playing. Sorry, what you're doing isn't meta, so you're not allowed to have fun. Do it right, quote unquote, because this is meta. Do it right or don't play the game. Don't enjoy yourself. And this is what is constantly put out there.
Yeah.
And I bring this up because it's been in my face a lot the last couple days.
Mhm.
Because I'm playing a gotcha game.
That's it.
What?
Okay,
Just
okay,
gotcha
so-
games.
You're
Go
playing
ahead.
a gotcha game, Matthew?
Okay. I was gonna grill him on this, but then I realized, wait, I'm also playing this.
I was
exact
about to
same
say,
fucking game
don't
as
you
well.
say a word, Matt.
So you're off the hook
so
this time, mate.
I'll shut up. So I've played this gotcha game for a decent amount of time. Ironically, I'm not the one who started playing this game. My best friend at the time, who I got into gotcha games in general, and he may hate me for that now. It's there's always that possibility. Um, is he was looking for different games to play than the ones we already played at the time, and he, like me, loved Bleach, and he found a game called Bleach Brave Souls, so he got us into that, and I thank him for it because it is a fun game. I do really enjoy it. It is an incredible game if you like Tyke Kubo as an artist because you get to see so much of his art.
Mhm.
Heck yes. And yeah, so I played this game. I've played it on and off again for about 5-ish years, I want to say. And the best time to play is at anniversary.
Yep.
Well, the anniversary happens to be going on right now, and I decided, well, you know what? I didn't play too much last year's anniversary. I logged on for like a week and got one of the anniversary characters and then promptly peaced out. And that was it. This year I decided, you know what? I'm actually going to play, partially because I kind of want to play. And I remembered, oh yeah, because one of the big things about the anniversary in Bleach is Bleach has a co-op feature where you run special missions with other players.
Right.
And people that do these co-ops, they make the co-op rooms. To put it bluntly, they're assholes because they're like, if you're not using this meta character, get out. And if you don't leave, I'll kick you out because the room host has that power.
So you should also mention that during these events, especially anniversary, we have event missions and co-op is generally integrated in them. So you do these event missions and get rewards and all that shit.
Yeah, you get rewards if you do the missions. That's true. The anniversary like co-op mission itself, like the actual mission,
Yeah.
has a chance of dropping a absolute crap ton of materials if you get really
Oh
lucky.
yeah.
It's super super nice. It can literally set your account up for the entire following year if you're lucky enough, and if you run it enough.
And that's when the problem comes in.
And that's when the problem comes in because these people make rooms. They're like, hey, we only want 50% bonus characters, which is always the newest characters introduced at the anniversary.
Yep.
Or 50% bonus characters with, these special linked characters, which I'm not going to explain the mechanics of the game, but super simple version is you can link, each character has a link ability, which you can tag 3 characters onto any character you're using,
Mhm.
and they get that link ability. And so they're like 50% bonus characters with these links only.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't been playing for the last year and a half, give or take. I don't have these new links. So a lot of these rooms are like, hey, you don't have it? Too bad. Get lost.
Yep.
And it's like, bro, I just want to do the mission.
And there is
And
a
it's
kick
like-
function in co-op as well.
Yeah, and they can kick you. So, I have to look for rooms that will take. Now I do have a 50% bonus because I have been summoning like crazy, so I got one of the 50% bonus characters, one of the new characters, so it works out for me there. So I have more options of rooms I can join. I just have to, look for ones that don't care about the links.
Right.
But like say Nat here, who's been playing, like I think he said he doesn't have one of the 50% bonuses.
No, I've only been playing for like a year, if that. Like I'm pretty fucking new, but I've still got strong characters. They're just on event characters, so
Yeah.
they're not getting the bonus and boosters and all that shit.
So yeah, so I have maybe a few more options, but it's still I have to look for these rooms that I can join, and then fight to get in these rooms because there's a lot of people trying to get into these
Yep.
rooms, especially like new players and stuff. So it's really annoying because, well, first off, in the way this mission works, the links do next to nothing. I understand wanting the boosts. I do. I don't really condone being an asshole about it, but I understand wanting the boost because you want to get those drops that, can set you up for the whole year. I get that.
Well, not only that,
Like that.
but they also want a speed run because the more you do it, the more stuff you get, and the quicker you do it, as you
Yeah,
said,
yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah, they
But I mean, if they only cared about speed, I mean, any of the powerful characters would work. So,
yeah, but
like,
also another thing, more specifically to this game rather than to like the majority of gotchas, is that um boosted characters have a chance of summoning a bonus room, and a bonus room gives you a bunch of shit as well, and that's what people want.
yeah, and that's the boost I'm talking
Yeah,
about because that's the only boost they actually get.
yeah, yeah.
So they give you that boost for a chance to get the room. And so that's why I say I get you want that extra chance because it can set up your account for a year.
Yeah.
You can get enough of the power up materials and experience materials to level every character you get that year, or then some, even really.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Uh, so it makes sense. Like I get wanting that. You don't have to be an asshole about it. First off, uh, and like I think anything past 100% it's kind of irrelevant actually because I don't think it counts anything past 100%, but I don't know that for sure. So I've never really questioned much on that.
I've
But the
seen
links,
rooms detailing like 200%, but again, I don't know the numbers, so
yeah, well, 200% is if everybody brings a max boosted character.
yeah.
But the thing is I think the room chance, like everything past 100%, I don't think it has any effect.
Oh,
Is what I'm
I
saying.
again, I have no idea. I just
Yeah,
know
I
that
don't know for certain if that's how it works. I remember that's how it worked a few years back. I don't
they could
maybe
have
maybe
changed
that's
it.
changed, so
Yeah.
I can't say. But the links themselves, they don't really matter. That's the problem. Because they want, like the like crystal jewel drop stuff. And now this is gonna mean nothing to Dalit or anybody that doesn't play, but just to explain.
Yeah.
They want the crystal jewel drop stuff. The amount of crystal and jewels you're getting is kind of minimal. So unless everybody, like across 4 players, runs full 3 links of crystal jewels, the amount you're going to be getting is negligible. And even with that, because of the amount of drop, it's not a lot. It's just
Oh,
really
so that's
not.
what that means. Okay. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Gotcha.
It's just not a lot. Uh, Droplet
Yeah,
increases.
the
That
droplet
one,
increases.
that one,
Yeah.
that one I can give people because one of the
It does
things that
matter.
can drop is because it's a percentage increase,
Yeah.
and one of the big drops is they'll drop like 1,000 droplets.
Yeah.
30% increase to 1,000 droplets is an extra 300 droplets. I'll give you that one.
Yeah, yeah.
That one I can understand people being picky on. I I still think it's dumb. Don't do it. But I mean, I give you that one. That one actually has a sizable chunk of effect.
Right. Okay. So what's the link
And then the
slot
other
then?
one,
Is it for the link
and so
potions
link
then?
slots, yeah, is for link slot potions. Now,
Oh, of course.
here's the thing. Because the way this mission works, and it can drop every attribute of link slot potion,
Yep.
as long as you have that bonus, you are guaranteed to get however many that bonus would give. So if it's a +5 to this kind of drop, say if it's a +5 to the red ones, it means
Ah,
every mission you're gonna get 5 red ones no matter what. But
right.
it's like it doesn't, like, so if you get the big jackpot one and you get like 9,000 of the red ones, you'll get 9,005 red ones. So it's just like in terms of the big bonus, it doesn't really do anything. And because I mean, some people might specify only bring this type of link slot, and those people are just even worse than the worst.
Right.
But if you just want link slots, people are going to bring whatever they got, which is just a random. So you're going to get. I've had some runs where I've literally, because of what people had, I've gotten like 5 of every type.
Yeah.
But that's 5 of every type every run. So it's like, okay, that's, a few. But if I really wanted to be efficient with link slots, I'd go to the actual link slot mission where you get a few hundred every time. And then the link slot you use matters because only one type drops. It's just,
Okay.
using it here seems so ineffective because, yeah, you are guaranteeing 5, but demanding people use it in this mission, just, it just feels so unnecessarily pedantic, I guess is the word. Like,
uh
bro, it's 5 link slot potions. If you're really hurting for 5 link slot potions, go do the link slot mission where you'll get hundreds of them.
I
You're actually gonna have an effect.
okay,
Like, it's
I don't know. I kind of want to play devil's advocate, but like also I don't want to normalize this fucking behavior because I also it's very anti new account though. That's the thing.
is very much so. And it's like these characters are the meta. And it's not like and you have to have them if you want to join so many of the co-op rooms in this game. And it's like for new players or players that took a break and are coming back like myself, you don't have them. So these players, don't want you in it. And the thing is a lot of these players end up being veteran players. So it's just like you're being an asshole and you don't really even need it that badly, do you? Because if you're a veteran player, you've been here for a while, you've been farming link slots in the link slot mission that's always up. Like you've been farming, these things that are always available. You probably have the because they have a system now where you can upgrade the thing and you get so many items after you do so many missions a day.
Yep.
Like so, and that can give you up to hundreds of those every day if you just do like 5 missions, which takes less than a minute. So it's just kind of like these veteran players are the ones that are like the biggest offenders of this, and they're not really the ones that need all of these potions. It's the new players that need them.
Yeah, like yeah, especially me. I fucking need them. I can. It's one of those weird things. It's like we did this in Dissidia, but like at least in Dissidia, it wasn't as egregious, like wanting fucking link slots and all that. But there was like bring boosted so we can get like the boosted drop rates and all that shit as well.
Yeah, but at least Dissidia did it in a way that was if you
Again, not
wanted boosted,
egregious.
yeah, like not egregious. If you wanted boosted, you could choose. Let me go into boosted rooms or look for boosted rooms. Or let me go into rooms that don't care.
Yeah,
There isn't that
there
filter
isn't.
here,
Yeah,
so they're
there isn't.
all
Yeah,
together. And
yeah.
it would be amazing if the game just added that filter, honestly,
Hmm.
because that would just save so much trouble because you don't have to dig through all these rooms to find a room that by the time you find that room might already be full. So then you have to dig through all the rooms
Yeah,
again.
yeah, yeah,
It,
yeah.
but here's the thing, and the problem I think, and the reason they haven't done it is because the missions themselves don't require it. It's the players that are requiring it. The players are the ones
Yeah, that makes
that are
sense.
like, hey, that do this. They're the ones that have decided the meta here. So, and it's annoying as hell.
Oh,
I
it's very fucking annoying because again, new player, I'm at that point where okay, leveling up a character from 1 to 200 and then to 6 star and all that, easy peasy. Now it's doing the tiny, not minute, but like these tiny little like details on a character to make them go from strong to really fucking strong. And that's
yeah,
and
which if you're doing the hard, like the actual difficult content, having that power boost matters.
yeah.
Like guild quests, it matters.
Oh
Like
yeah.
some of the like nightmare difficulty things, it
Hmm.
matters.
Yeah.
So like I understand it because you want to be able to progress and do all the fun, challenging things and whatnot.
Yeah.
And like I hated it back when I played before because this has existed since they introduced these type of Link characters.
Right.
Um, but back when I played actively, I had all of the characters. I still hated it. I never did it, but it didn't affect me as bad because I had them. So I was like, okay, well I'll just use them. Whatever, I can get into the rooms. But it still sucks. It's still so annoying. And like my friend that I played with, he didn't have all of them. So, he couldn't get into every room out there. So it's just like why be an asshole about this? Like I get it. There are certain scenarios where even though I don't agree with it, I get it. Like again, there are specific missions for farming the specific attribute potions.
Right.
I I again I don't like it, but if you want to be strict on it and say, hey, you have to have these characters if you want to join this room, I'll give it to you there because you're going specifically for those potions and you're trying to maximize your time farming these potions. I
Mhm.
get you. You know what? I'll give it to you even if I don't agree with it. But for something like this, like I said, I can't argue the boost. I understand the boost to a certain extent, so I'll give you that. Sure, I think demanding everybody use the max boost is redundant because I don't think the boost matters past 100%. But I'm not 100% on that. Uh, but what you're demanding people bring is such a minute thing. Like why be this asshole? Like you're not even saving yourself time here. And at the end of the day, even if you wanted those extra ones for the big drop, that big drop still has to happen. And even with a full party of
No guaranteeing
the
it.
max boosted characters, it's not guaranteed.
Right, right.
So like I've done 10, 15 runs in a row and not seen one of the special rooms spawn.
Right.
Like it happens, man. Like sometimes they just don't spawn. That's why people are like, you got to run this thing hundreds of times. And at the end of the day, it's worth running it that many times because you get a lot of materials. It stacks up.
Yep.
Even if you get the small prizes, it stacks up because
Yeah.
the small prizes is still a lot, especially for new players.
Mhm.
So it's this community that this game has because I remember when they introduced the new player system where new players get like how in Final Fantasy 14 you get the little sprout.
Hmm.
Yep.
They've had this system where new players get a little sprout badge next to their name in
Yeah, I
co-op.
fucking hate it.
So if you run a mission with a new player in co-op, they when they introduced the system, it gave you an assist point for every player that had one, and these assist points accumulated, and then you got nice rewards, summon tickets, orbs, enhancement materials. You got nice things. So people, when this came out, were like, new player badges only, new player badges only. Don't join this room if you aren't a new player. It's
Yeah.
just the community with this game is so egregiously like toxic about like don't join this room if you don't have these certain things. And if you don't have these certain things, that's your problem. It's not mine. You're just not playing the game.
I think that's what meta comes down to is just the community number crunches because this is not just a Bleach problem. This is
No, 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 no.
this is a lot of fucking online multiplayer game problem from I guess technically Final Fantasy 14, but like those numbers are so
No,
like close
I
together.
would not say that. I think it affects 14 pretty
It
aggressively.
does. Yeah. Sorry, yeah, no, you're probably right. I'm thinking of like just tank numbers, but I'm like thinking about DPS numbers, and yeah. So like from 14 to League of Legends to
Hmm.
Dota to fucking just
World of
again,
Warcraft.
yeah, World of Warcraft, literally just any fucking online multiplayer game. When the community is involved, that's when you get. I don't know if I want to say Well, I mean, yeah, well, you will get problems, but that's another thing, not meta. Um, but yeah, you get like just no. Actually, no. I will say it is a problem. Like meta being a problem because like oh man, I remember back a couple of years ago when Zaya was meta, and pretty much everyone fucking played Zaya, but because no one plays fucking Zaya before until she became strong and
Wait, Zaya Bird Girl from League? Or.
League of Legends, yeah,
Okay,
Zaya,
yeah, I just have to keep pace with you.
yeah, sorry, but Zaya, but like everyone was like fucking dog shit at her, but because she was meta, everyone played her. It's like, bro, just play what you fucking know. Stop trend chasing. Like seriously.
In a game that's as skill heavy as League is, I feel like if you play a character you know, you're gonna play a lot better than you do and help the team a lot more than you would on playing a character that just happens to be
Meta for
a
the
better
season or
Yeah,
meta for
character.
that's a
the
Yeah.
that's
next
probably
three
going to be
fucking months.
true. That's probably going to be true like 90% of the time for sure.
Yeah, and I only griped about Bleach because
It's what you
it's the
know.
most
Yeah,
recent thing.
exactly.
It's the most recent thing. It's the thing that reminded me how much I hated it. It's been in other games, like when I played Seven Deadly Sins Grand Cross, which that one was a very PvP heavy game.
Oh
Oh, the
god.
So
meta. God, the
so it was
meta
a
was
Oh,
definitely in that game.
yep, like every character, it was like, oh crap, is this character a PvP meta character? Let's go see what the number crunchers. Let's go see
am I
what all the
fighting a
testers say.
whale?
Yeah, I'm like, am I gonna have to summon? Am I gonna have to like whale to get this character? What's happening? Like, do I like this character? Yes. Cool. Is it meta? No. So should I just not summon for it because I'm not gonna actually be able to use it? And then yeah, again, you get the whales who are like, oh, meta character, let me max out the character,
Hmm.
summon all their copies, etc.
So
Again, it's really bad in a PvP setting, especially. And then like I get why people are so anal about it in PvP settings or
oh,
PvP content
absolutely.
because that comes down to being competitive. You want to win.
Yeah.
So you want the best. I get why people are like that there. It's when you see it in very casual content that it really bugs me and I don't understand it.
Yeah, so when it comes to I'm just going to say when it comes to playing with or against other people, the meta is a problem.
Thank you. I was going to say
Um
this. Yeah.
but meta can also be a good thing, especially if you're just playing, you know, the events, which is most likely a PvE event, sorry. Uh example, Dissidia. Once you got the meta characters, you can just absolutely fucking clear even the hardest things and it feels good. You're like, oh, like I couldn't do this before. But now that I've got these characters and I can just complete fucking Shinryu and all that shit, it's like it feels great.
True. I mean, it's nice. And in that regard, in the especially in these style of games like gotcha games, it yeah, meta can and I'm putting heavy like air quotes emphasis whatever on can be useful because it can help a new player figure out what do I need to do to be able to do
Well,
content. Well,
furthermore,
hey, this character's
can we actually bring
go
this
ahead.
back just a little bit? Because
Okay.
what you've just hit on is kind of like the core of like what I want to get through. Um, Meta, to me, well, meta as a word just means self-referential, right? It means the way you
Mm,
think about this thing.
right.
And
Which is weird that it's the word for this because I don't think that meaning aligns with what it's used
well,
with. But
so it may not be how it's used, but it does make sense. So the meta, if the meta is how you think about something, as we all know, everyone's favorite thing on the internet is a tier list, right? Everyone
Right.
loves tier listing
mhm,
absolutely everything. So the way we think
Yep.
about things in competitive, cooperative, and even some single player experiences is what's the best, what's the worst, and what can we do with everything else in between. So it does make
Mhm.
sense. It's often used in this hyper negative light. But if you think about it, a
Right.
meta really comes down to how we're thinking about that game. And in many games, it's how we're thinking about the characters in that game,
Yeah.
or if not characters, classes. You've used Bleach, so characters in your case, and Nat, you brought up 14 classes in that
Yep.
case.
Yeah.
And what a meta really refers to is where everyone sits in that. It doesn't actually just mean the best. That's the colloquialism. That's how we use it. That's not necessarily what it means. And so a
Right.
meta a
True.
meta makes sense. Like uh I'm sorry, I'm going to make it more complicated. I'm going to bring a third thing in. I'm playing Tekken 8. Tekken 8 currently has an issue where after however many months it's been out, Dragunov is still at the top of the list. He's been the best since day
Yeah.
one. He has continued to be the best.
Hmm.
And tier lists really big in fighting games. And we see where everyone else is in comparison to Dragunov, who's at the top, because
Right.
he's the bar by which we judge everything else.
And
And
Nina
she
would be right
and
beside
Nina
below
and
him.
Nina no Nina would be either next to him or one rank below. Yeah, I think that's a
Yeah.
fair way of saying it.
Yeah.
This is good to know. This is good to know for several reasons. It allows the player base, like you were saying, to come in with knowledge. I'm new to Tekken 8. Who do I want to play? Well, Dragunov is at the top because he has all of the tools. He's the best character. I will have the easiest time learning this game through a character that will essentially carry me. Like
Hmm.
as I learn the fundamentals, the strength of this character will carry me through. It's
Ah,
not
but that's
like
a noob trap.
and it is, but it's still a way of going about this, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And this again, this all like really depends on how we're talking about this. In a competitive game, people abuse the meta to essentially flood the scene with the same three characters.
Right.
Like we
Which is
see
very
we
boring.
see like three different versions of the same Ichigo and Bleach apparently. In 14, your static will be very likely made of a very specific group of classes because they're the classes that can push through the content the easiest. And in Tekken 8,
Hmm.
you're probably playing Dragunov.
Yeah.
In a cooperative
Yeah.
game, it also becomes important. Again, this has been mentioned because this is the easiest way through the content. So people again abuse this knowledge, and now instead of abusing it to further themselves in a competitive sense, now they're abusing it to force you, a different person, to play what they consider the best, so that they have the easiest time. It's all very selfish, obviously. The
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
thing,
Absolutely.
the one thing I kind of can't defend, unlike everything else, is single player because I've never fully understood it. The only time a meta really comes into play in a single player game, to me anyway, is when you're talking about it. So if you're like forgive me, if you're a math nerd and you're like just trying to figure out who's the best for the sake of
Well.
learning what the best stuff is and having dialogue, then like this idea of the meta, the spread of characters kind of makes sense. But if you're just Joe Schmo playing, I don't fucking know, Genshin Impact, it doesn't really matter. Maybe it matters a bit. Maybe you specifically stay away from the worst character in the game because maybe it's hard to get through the abyss with that character. But
Right.
by and large, it doesn't really matter who you pick. And that's kind of where I sit.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you brought that up because I will bounce perfectly off that
Nice.
to explain how that works in games like Genshin, like Star Rail, like these things. Is the meta is ultimately it doesn't matter, like you said, because you can do it with anybody. Like there are like if you like for Genshin Impact, there are plenty of people that you can go watch. They have videos on YouTube where I cleared Abyss with this character. Like
Bless anyone clearing the abyss with Amber. I know she's
that's
bad,
exactly what I was about to
but
say.
she's so goddamn adorable.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. There are so many videos of people like I cleared this period's Abyss with Amber, like because they could do it, and they probably have her max duped out
Sure,
and probably
sure.
have really good gear on her, and the characters with her probably play a part in it as well.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is they did use her. She is a part of that team. And it's the same thing with Star Rail, Like I cleared Star Rail with this character or with this character.
But
Um,
that kind of just devolves back down to meta because it's not the character kit that is that helped fucking clear the content. It's mostly the artifacts and the duplicates and weapons and all that other
so
shit. It's other factors
yes.
helping a bad or non-meta character out to do content.
Oh yeah, now we're getting into the levels of meta where there's the character and then the builds. Fair enough. Fair enough.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that there is there's levels to it, right? But it comes down to like I had this conversation with a friend of ours in like about something in Start Rail. And I said something like I don't care for meta, and then a little bit after that, somebody asked like, "What do you use on this character?" And I'm like, "This is what's best on them." They're like, "Why do you answer that when you don't like meta?" And I'm like, "Okay, I don't like meta, sure, but what is efficiently the best on this character? I mean, just to play the character efficiently. I mean, would
Yeah.
you not naturally work towards that? Like even if you weren't working for meta, if you were just playing any single player game and you were like this character is really good at dealing damage based off their attack. So I would play if I wanted to play this character efficiently, I would make sure they have a lot of gear that's attack based. Like that's just to me just, trying to play
Right, you'll
efficient.
still build a tank like a tank. You're not suddenly going to try to turn them into
Right.
a
Yeah,
healer.
you're not
Got
gonna
it.
yeah, you're not gonna give
Yeah, so I
fucking
mean,
ice gear to a fire character.
Just so.
Like,
Well,
yeah.
actually,
yeah,
hold
so I mean
on,
like
because
Oh,
never
okay,
mind,
okay,
never mind.
okay.
There are niche
Let's
circumstances, but I
not.
see your point.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's like I'm not trying to be to talk meta. And he's like, yeah, but that's meta. And I'm like, okay, fine, it's meta, but it's also just what's efficient. And to answer their question, yeah, this is what is efficient. The character scales off of this stat,
Yep.
so this is what you want.
Yes,
If
exactly.
you want efficient. Now, if you want to do a jank fun build, sure, you do something else.
Yeah, that's called a
And there are
fucking luck
ways to do
build.
that with yeah, I mean there are ways to do that with characters in Star Rail and other games too, and like Genshin and other games too. Yeah, they exist. You can clear the hardest content with those jank builds too.
Hmm.
But you got to specifically look for those builds or, be one of those people who's able to math it out and figure it out.
Right,
Right.
exactly.
But it's it's like I'm not trying to be meta. I'm just trying to advise off of what is efficient. Like
Which is
just because you're doing what's efficient doesn't mean you're doing necessarily what's meta.
eh,
So a lot of times those align. I don't think one is exclusively the other. Like I
it's
think
it's kind of weird because while meta in itself is an actual word, the meta that pretty much every gamer uses is the acronym, which is most effective tactics
This is true.
available. So
Yeah, this is true.
yeah,
It has like a backronym that has changed the overall meaning to what essentially the optimal shit.
yeah, so it's
yeah,
like so when you said that, man, I'm just like I understand where you're coming from, but it still technically does fall under meta because you're trying to be effective and
I guess yeah. It's by a technicality it is because like by definition of that acronym, yes, that's exactly what you're
but I
doing.
understand what you're trying to get at. You're not trying to make every single fucking just like every single number being like the best or being meta. I understand what you're trying to get
Yeah.
at.
So yeah, I'm not aiming for perfect rolls on the
That
artifacts,
thank you.
right? For like
That's the
Right.
word I was
yeah,
looking
for like
for.
Genshin and Star Rail and their clones. I'm not aiming for perfect rolls on the
Yeah.
artifacts. I'm just aiming for the
Fire
stats
damage
to
on fire
exist.
character.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like I'm just aiming for those to exist
Yes.
so that it's a bonus,
It's the
right?
difference between
So it's
logical
actually doing
versus
something.
optimal.
Yeah. Being logical versus optimal. Thank you, Dolly.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Which I
Um
genuinely fucking hate because I, as much as I hate to admit it, I do get into that mindset. That's why I stopped playing Wuthering Waves, is because I get into that mindset. It's like I want this character to be good, so I need these perfect fucking roles, or else they're considered dog shit. When realistically, they're not. Even if you have,
Nat, I'm so glad you said this.
it shits me off to no end.
I want you to know you
Yep.
are one of my closest friends, and I love you dearly.
Oh God, is this
Uh-oh.
an intervention?
It sounds like an intervention.
You are one of my friends that get so caught up in meta mindset
I
sometimes,
fucking
and
hate it.
I'm just like, bro, just have fun, man.
I
It's
do because Wuthering Waves, just the combat itself
now
is
Wuthering
great. It's
Waves, like, I'll
fun,
give
but
you,
once we
yeah.
get into the nitty gritty things, especially when we want to start getting into the end game content, that's when you need to really think about the numbers because you want to beat the end game content because that gives you all the rewards and you want the rewards. So you
I
can
mean, that's true.
like
That's true. But
it's a
now,
cycle and I
here's the
fucking
thing:
hate it.
there's a difference between getting all the rewards and getting incredible times and stuff. Because because it's you can look up videos on YouTube and stuff.
Right.
Especially in a game like Wuthering Waves, which has a level of skill to it.
Mhm.
You can make up that difference with skill in that kind of game, but it
Absolutely.
it is one of those things like you don't need the meta, you just need optimal enough to be able to do it.
Oh my God, don't say
Uh,
that because I want to have that mindset, but it will never fucking happen. And
it's just
it's awful.
I said it like I said it because there's so many times I can't think of examples right now. I'll admit, um, but there's so many times we've talked about games, and you've talked about something you don't like about a game, and I'm just like, that's only a problem if you worry about the meta.
And that is my mindset for most of these. It's not just gotcha
and
games, but like most of these like character building online games. Like single players, it's a little bit different. Like it's a
I mean,
little
I've
yeah.
always been kind of, I guess, blessed in my mindset because I've never been a competitive person ever.
Oh, I it was yeah.
And I've never like cared about these optimal things. I've always done what I do because I enjoy it, and
Yeah.
I do it because I enjoy it, and I always do things to enjoy.
Yeah.
So like I know I've played so many games ineffectively,
Mhm.
but I'm like, hey, I had fun and I beat it.
Mhm.
So who lost here?
I do
I
I
didn't.
do get where Nat's coming from because I don't hate the idea of a meta. I do often hate how it's used to abuse people though. Um,
Yes.
Now see that's my problem.
yeah, I
I
get
think
that.
ultimately I don't hate it either, but it's because all of my interactions with it, yeah, pretty much all of my interactions with
Or
it
negative.
are in cases where people use it to abuse people or abuse a system or something like that,
Yeah.
or negative.
But I do also get the idea that a lot of games nowadays are, I don't want to use the term predatory because that's such a loaded term now. But uh
Well, gotcha
in
games are so
this is true, but in games with a live service or at least a frequent update to them,
mhm.
I do understand the idea of optimizing your build and why that is problematic because it's always changing. It's one thing to try to optimize your build in a game like, say, Borderlands, where there's like definitive end game and then there will be
Right.
an end. But it gets much
Yeah.
harder in games like WoWa, in games like Genshin, and in games, and really gacha games in general that have a longer lifespan with constant updates. And now what was optimal is now no longer optimal. Now you have to grind out this new thing. Otherwise, I'm going to judge you again. And that's
Yeah.
where
It's
it
like
gets difficult. And
yeah.
that's why I understand where Matthew's coming from about playing these games non-optimally, because it's it's kind of a crazy endeavor to try to play them optimally because it becomes like a second job.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, I mean, overall, the idea, like I said, like my thesis is, I think meta is fine. I think thinking about what is the best, the worst, and the middle ground of a game is fine. Being able to shape that space in your head makes sense. I mean, that's just how we tackle a lot of things. But using that
Right.
information to bully someone else or to wholesale cut them out of an activity feels so fucked up. It's a game, y'all.
Yeah.
100% there.
especially a game that came out, a fucking gotcha game that came out 9 years ago as well.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, it comes up a lot. I really wish that the live team of the developers working on any particular game would actually like meaningfully look at what happens in their games, because a lot of this can be not avoided. It's always going to be there, but can be lessened
Right.
by like being an active member. And even if it's not a member of the dev team, just like having an active representative play the game will
Mhm.
immediately get you this reaction like at home, and you'll understand. And
Yeah.
sometimes you just have to make sure that no one can know it's a representative, otherwise they'll get treated differently. But yeah,
Yeah,
I can
exactly.
imagine like
Right.
like the whole thing is we hear this a lot. Do the devs not play their own games?
So, very
Yeah,
quickly, just to kind of throw this in there, like to counter, like how you said they, to put measures in to counteract it. Like, and I'm going to go back to Bleach again for this.
sure, sure.
Um, that like I was explaining earlier, that percentage boost caps at 100. So if everybody
Allegedly.
brings the smallest boost, like okay, it might now maybe, but I know back then it capped at 100. So even if everybody bought the smallest boost character, so it's 4 characters at 25%, because that's the smallest boost you can get is 25%.
Yeah.
Uh,
Other than zero, but
every
yeah.
yeah, other than zero. As long as everybody brought a smallest boost character, which usually the boost characters for the 25% is a pretty sizable pool, so even new players had a solid shot at getting them, or having one of them, and it was possible to get it. And then taking the fact if at least one person had a higher boost rate character, you needed less people to have the full boost. That boost capped at 100%. People were still adamant, if you're not using the max boost character, we will kick you, even in a full run. That's unnecessary. It stopped at 100%. But because the players, one, majority of them just were too lazy to read, would not, you know, were like that. They're like 200% or nothing, max percentage or nothing,
Yeah.
even though it caps at 100. It's because the players didn't read.
Yeah.
So, like, sometimes they put measures in, but that still requires these players to read.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that is
sometimes that's
fair.
a problem.
No, that's a genuine issue.
So the pretty much the exact same problem happened with Warframe way back in the day. Back when Warframe had a kick button for parties and all that. But obviously because there's no like actual like
I forgot about that.
boosted Warframes and all that shit, right? Because it's not
What?
gotcha,
No
right? But
prime?
like
Get kicked.
something like that, but I think it was just mostly like, oh, you're level 5 and you're with team a team full team party that's like max level and doing like high end game sort of thing. Yeah, we're gonna kick you out, even though the guy is probably just as skilled as the max level fucking warframes and all that. He's just leveling
Hmm.
up his, lower level warframe. But yeah, so what did DE do? They got rid of the kick button. So you are stuck with whoever the fuck you get and hopefully you can carry them. Which, especially today's fucking Warframe, you absolutely could with ease without even realizing it.
Yeah, and this is what I mean. Like, it's good. It's good when you see that devs, or at least a representative of the company, is playing the game and getting meaningful
Oh
report
yeah,
back
both
Well,
to.
with
both
Warframe, because they
Rebecca
have that,
and Smeek and
yeah,
were playing the game, so yeah.
yeah, like the devs for Warframe definitely play the game. That's why you see so many, like, generally good decisions by the community standpoint, like, or viewpoint in that game. It it's also one of those games where it's got like I think the vast majority of that community is a very positive community,
Sure.
a very friendly community and helpful one. Like there are assholes. There's always assholes. It's the internet.
Yeah.
Uh, but I feel like you're running into those is far and few in between in like Warframe, because the devs encourage positivity. They're all very positive people towards their fan base, and they try to hit that negativity and that toxicity on it like nail on the head. They try and like snuff that out when they can.
Yeah.
Like Matt was saying, they got rid of the kick button because people were abusing it for
Mhm.
you know reasons not intended. But it does exist like in like some single player games too. So in a weirder way, right? Now this one also comes down to uh this one is one where like I have to like call myself out, I have to admit. But there's a system that used to exist in RPGs that you don't see as much anymore.
And
Uh
that's
and it's a system I quite like this system. I really like this system. Uh and that's skill trees. I love skill trees.
oh,
I think
okay.
skill trees are so cool. Um I just like the idea of them, right? Now you see in an online space like World of Warcraft used to have them,
Hmm.
but people plotted out a meta for every skill tree for
The
every class.
illusion of
If
choice.
Yeah,
Correct.
if you didn't pick those things, you weren't able to do content. So
Yep.
eventually, World of Warcraft got rid of their skill trees, and it sucked.
And
I,
then
I
it brought
liked
back,
skill trees
I
in World.
think.
Yeah, and yeah, they're coming back with Dragon or War Within.
A
Sorry, that's the new expansion name. Yeah, they're coming back with War Within. So hey, cool. Let's maybe they did it right this time, and skill trees actually will be
skill
cool.
trees are very fucking hard to balance because, just as you said, man, again, community will fucking number crunch to the very
Yeah, they'll
fucking
number
minute
crunch it.
fucking numbers, and people will figure it out.
And like I can't say anything too negatively about that because even in single player games, like it happens, right?
Oh
Because like I
yeah.
said,
Do you want me to give you an
like
example?
even no, I mean you can if you want, sure.
Yeah, Decisive Pumpkin from Kingdom Hearts 2.
Decisive pumpkin from Kingdom Hearts 2.
Yeah,
What?
It's
Decisive
one of the
Pumpkin, the
it's the
Keyblade.
best physical keyblade, or it's
Yeah, because of the
one
combo
of the two
boost.
best. Yeah, because of the yeah, exactly, the
Oh, it's one of the
ability
Keyblades. Okay.
attached to it. God, that's such a niche reference with like no context in that. What the fuck?
What do you mean?
You gave him no context. You just said decisive pumpkin. If I
Yeah,
didn't know that
Decisive
was
Pumpkin
Kingdom
from Kingdom
Hearts,
Hearts
no
2.
one was gonna say it.
I mean, yeah, you're saying that to me, who's like blocked Kingdom Hearts out of his brain.
Okay, that's foul. That's
um,
foul. But no, it
okay,
happens,
fair.
like you said, man. Like, meta does somewhat exist even in single player games.
Yeah, and like I get skill trees are difficult even in single player games because like I can remember a few times I can't remember the game itself, but where I had a skill tree and it's like, oh, that's really cool, but while that's cool, this like this effect works better, or this synergizes better. So why wouldn't I pick that?
Yeah,
Like it just like when you're trying to play the game efficiently, like it's hard for skill trees because it's a lot more to balance. Even in a single player game, it's a lot more to balance.
yeah.
Uh, so unless you make it to where like everything's like powerful and then the game doesn't have a level of difficulty, you end up in those situations where, well, what's the best, what works the best kind of thing. And so I mean, like you could still pick the weaker options, but you'd just be making things harder for
I
yourself.
am happy you bring that up though,
So,
because I think a lot of the times the correct answer is just you forsake a bit of difficulty to allow this willingness to
Fun.
engage with, yeah, the fun aspects of your builds. Like maybe spreading all of the disease in the world isn't optimal, but it's really cool and I would like to do it. So
Follow up on what Dola just said, which I agree with, because there's one thing that was very fucking recent that I hated myself for, but I eventually went to it, and that was Throne of Liberty.
yeah, sure.
I really liked Greatsword and Wand and Tome. I was playing essentially,
That's a wild
I'm
combination.
yeah,
that
it's
is a wild combination.
it's a
Okay.
knight that uses curses, because Wand and Tome is the support weapon. That it's either healing or damaging, right? And through damages, curses does its damage, right?
Sure.
So I went with Great Sword and curses, right? It was really fucking fun. But God fucking forbid I actually find a fucking build for that, because everyone said you should be doing Great Sword and Dagger.
Dual dagger
Mm-mm.
because of crit native crit boost and stuff.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So It's funny when I played through that, I chose dual dagger anyways just because I like dual wielding stuff. So I was just like, oh cool. So my second choice was always kind of irrelevant. I started off with the spells and I was like, oh, I found cool synergy with skills. It's fun. But I ended up on wand and tome because I found a really cool synergy because there was a
Poison,
skill on there
poison curses, and
that
you can explode both your poisons and your curses.
yeah, it
Yep,
explodes the curses, poisons,
Ooh,
yep,
whatever. So I'm
yep,
like, wait.
yeah.
yep,
Like
So I'm like, all the
that.
curses I'm applying with my tome and all the poisons I'm applying with my dual dagger, which is
yep,
the thing I'm mainly using, I can blow all that up for a bunch
Yeah,
of
I
damage at
like
once.
yep,
that.
Dude, why would I not do that? That's cool as
That's
yep.
crap.
good.
So I ended up on that. Yeah. And that was just because I liked the way that playstyle worked. But you're right. That like me and you were talking about that and you brought it up. Like people were always like, yeah, use dual daggers as your second,
Yep.
even if you don't want it to be your main for the crit boost for extra damage. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, but I think the only time people said don't do that is if you were going like full tank builds and you wanted survivability or whatever over the damage.
Yeah, more or less. Like if you're going tanky, you either have two builds. You can go tank damage, which is sword and shield and great sword, or you can go full on fucking paladin, and that's sword and shield and wand and tome.
Which was one of the builds I did.
Yeah, which was fucking awesome. But like
Yeah.
yeah, it's just one of those like factor like do I give up efficiency for fun factor? And at first I did with the great sword and wand and tome, but then eventually I caved in and did great sword and dagger. And while it was still fun, I kind of liked the playstyle of knight, oh not knight, of great sword and wand because I can physical. I'm using both physical and magical abilities, and
Look at these
that's what
two
I
meta
like.
slaves.
Hey.
Dude, it is not our fault. They made dual daggers way too fucking strong.
No,
It
no,
is
that's fair.
unbelievable.
That's fair. That is genuinely understandable and a big part of what I was saying earlier about having the devs be uniquely aware of the meta usually leads to better balancing.
I will say there was a fun combination I had with my just quickly while we're on the topic with when I was using the staff and then dual daggers because staff has a
Oh
spell
yeah.
where you jump back and blast like the area in front of you with ice,
Hmm.
which was like really cool. But it like it made you were still within range to do the dual daggers teleport behind the enemies.
Yep.
So I could jump back, blast them with ice. The moment I land, I teleport behind them, and I'm right back in melee behind them with my daggers. And I'm like, dude, that synergy is sick.
Yep. 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 Yep.
Um, but yeah, so just to kind of rewind again, like because we were talking about the skill trees for a minute, I want to say like one of the best iterations of a skill tree that I can think of, at least in recent memory, uh, is a game called Last Epoch.
Oh yeah.
Cool, because I was going to
Not
bring up Path of
Because
Exile.
not Path of Exile. Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you,
so I
Philip.
didn't play Path of Exile enough to really get
And
into
neither
that
have
skill
I,
tree,
honestly, so
but
that's a fair point.
Just think Final Fantasy
but
X, but a lot
On
larger.
crack. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but I mean I looked at their skill tree and it's a lot going on.
Oh yeah.
Um, though I will say a lot of its skill tree looked like just boosts to your skills, whereas your skills were a separate system. Where the last epoch was like a combination of there were boosts to your skills and the skills themselves were in the tree kind
Right.
of thing.
Mhm.
Right.
Because how last epoch did it was like you have a skill and then each skill has its own tree, and so you can pick your four main skills and then you can level their trees and do whatever with them through their trees.
Right.
So what was really cool about this, and again, I was playing a necromancer because that's just what I do.
Mhm.
I play necromancers. Um, there were so many options and ways to play necromancer, especially for someone like me who loves minion based necromancers, not just blood and bone based necromancers,
Yeah.
or corpse based necromancers. I like the minion stuff. I think that's my go to. And there were so many different ways and options I could build this army of undead I was using, and none of them felt better or worse than the other to me. not to a noticeable degree to me. Like, I'm sure for like actual number crunchers, there's probably a difference.
Right.
But to someone who's just playing and enjoying, it never felt like I was, hindering my like power picking this over this kind of thing.
Right.
It ultimately became like, what combination of minions did I enjoy the most? So like, did I want to give up my mages for these death knights who had really high crit? Or did I want to go for the upgrade my mages into these super powerful liches that were doing huge chunks of AoE?
Right.
Like, I was just like, what do I want to do? I went with the Death Knights because I thought that was cool as
Hell
crap.
yeah.
Even though I was just like, man, why can't I have both? Because that would be cool. But it was one or the other.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
was like, all right. But no, like that was one of the best instances of a skill tree I'd ever seen because like on a surface level, it never felt like one of your choices was better than the other. It always just came down to which of these styles of play do you enjoy the most.
Right.
And I think that's like one of the best ways and probably the ideal way you would build a skill tree is everything is at the same level. It just changes the style of play to what you're doing. And I think that's what a lot of people shoot for when they put skill trees in games. Now, whether it always works out or not is a different
It's-
different issue altogether.
yeah.
And I'm sure, like Last Epoch, like Diablo and every other, like isometric action game it has a meta because Lord knows Diablo has a meta.
Yeah.
My minion necromancer is not in it on that, that's for sure. But that's also because I think Blizzard hates them.
Probably. Most likely. Let's be real here.
Yeah, most likely they do.
Mhm.
It's very likely. Though, as we stated with World of Warcraft, Blizzard doesn't have the greatest history of balancing their
Oh god,
stuff
no.
right off
God,
off
no, no,
off
no,
gate,
no,
huh?
no.
But yeah, it exists in single player games too. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this is kind of a very obscure or vague reference, I guess. But I think you'll both get it because you both at least played the first game in this series.
Sure.
Trails of Cold Steel.
Yeah, and I'm up to Reverie, so
Yeah, okay. I thought you were further than me.
Mm-hmm.
But Trails of Cold Steel, like in at least the first game, like Fee has a naturally higher dodge rate.
she's so
So
good.
the meta is to build her as a dodge tank.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that's what I did because it was funny as heck, just having Fee right up in the middle of all these enemies, none of them could hit her, and she's just like, ah. I'm just like, that's awesome. Also, I really loved Fee, and it was really powerful, and I just wanted to make her really powerful.
Correct. No, like genuinely fantastic.
Yeah.
But it like that is the meta way to build her, and it's like, yeah, because she has the this naturally higher dodge rate or whatever. It works out that she can do this, and
Yeah.
so it's a meta by like definition of the acronym, right?
Yeah.
Most effective tactic. Or
I
what's
just
the A stand for again?
I just thought of another single player meta and I want to kill myself thinking about it. It involves back to Kingdom Hearts, Balloon Ride in Dream Drop Distance.
I don't know. I didn't play that game. Fuck that game. It felt bad to play, and its story has ruined that series.
I mean, Dollar's not far off, but like I never had heard of this until you told me about it.
What, seriously?
I've heard of this. I don't know what it does, but I have in fact heard Balloonra is Dream Drop's defining spell. Or mechanic, or whatever
I never
it is.
encountered it.
Spell.
Never encountered it. Never heard of it. Though to be fair, I generally avoided the Kingdom Hearts like online community a lot. Not intentionally, but it's just kind of how it worked out that way.
I mean, you don't even have to interact with the community. You just look at speedruns and fucking everyone goes for Balloon Ride.
I don't ever watch.
No, I would say that's a you and me thing, Nat.
Oh, okay.
But like, and that's not fair. I watch speedruns for just really random things. I'll watch Hollow Knight speedruns.
Fair. Fair. It's good. It's a good run.
It is. I could never do it. Too much platforming. But it's like I'd never heard of that. Like I knew the spell was good. I just I used it, but I didn't like abuse it or anything. I used it on occasion. Just I always forget to use magic in every Kingdom Hearts except 2. And
Fair.
I fixed that in Kingdom Hearts
Good
1
man. Good
because
man.
the first time I played Kingdom Hearts 1, I didn't realize how strong gravity and arrow were.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Never occurred to me.
I was the
So I
same with
played through all of
Gravity.
Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
I played through all of Kingdom Hearts 1, like never touching those spells.
Yeah.
And then when I went back, when I was a bit older, I realized, oh, these are good. Oh, magic is pretty good in Kingdom Hearts 1. So I used it. I used it then. My first time I never did, and I enjoyed it and played it fine. It was whatever.
What's that? Stop
But
guard,
I
Gravika,
used
strong
it.
together? Damn.
The thing that made me use magic in 2 was simply I really liked wisdom form.
Yeah.
That was it. That was just it. I loved gliding around in wisdom form, going
That's fair.
Pew pew pew.
and, and using magic. So I used magic in Kingdom Hearts 2 a lot just because I liked wisdom.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, I just want to throw in that.
I think ultimately, I think Dalit said it, best pretty early on. It's meta in itself is not bad. It's when people use it to
Bully
Yeah.
and abuse, yeah.
and bully other people
Mhm.
and degrade their enjoyment of something because they aren't doing it this way
Yeah.
is just awful. Like seriously, people, what's the deal? What does it hurt you that this person enjoys playing this game differently? Like seriously.
They're not playing it the way I like playing it, therefore they are bad.
I get so tweaked off when I see things that are considered meta and that people do this with it. It's just like why? Like I said, it's because I've been playing Bleach for the last little bit that like it was prevalent in my mind, and I'm just reminded of like different instances where it aggravates me in other things like MMOs, like another big one. Like we mentioned 14. It's like, hey, I really like 14. Hey, one day I want to do uh
Extreme
a world
trials.
first race. This is super hypothetical.
Yeah.
I want to do a world first race. It's like, man, that means you're going to be stuck in a what is the most optimal team you can make, and that's the only thing you can do. And which one of those roles do you want to do? It's like, but I want to do it with just what seems fun. Nope, it's not optimal. Can't do that. You want to race for world first? Only optimal. And that just kind of sucks. I can't wait for when we get a world first race and the people who get world first aren't using what is the optimal. That might have already happened at least once, but I can't wait for it to happen again.
I think that specific instance, I think it's fine because you only do world first race once for that specific battle. Once that's
Right.
done, it's done. But I understand what you're trying to get at, Matt. Like, yeah, fucking everyone's trying to, even not the not good players of Final Fantasy 14, aka the literal 98% player base, try to make you don't have the meta fucking class, or you're not joining out static, fuck off. It's like,
Yeah, it's a
okay.
fundamental misunderstanding of why something is strong versus like it being the only thing that is strong.
Yeah.
For instance, going to 14, oh, maybe not. There's a new thing out. Like once upon a time, like machinist was just the go-to for physical ranged. I don't know if that's
Mhm.
still the case because it
If you want pure damage,
yeah, it does the damage. But if
I don't
if
think
you
that's the
don't
case
build
right now, but that's fine.
yeah, exactly. Like maybe this wasn't the best idea for me to talk about, but still, if you don't build that damage correctly, or if you are just fundamentally not good at the class because I don't know, you just don't jive with its
Play
rotation,
style or that as well,
man,
yeah.
I try so hard. I'm so bad
yeah,
at it. I
it,
think.
it won't matter because you're never going to see the peak of that class. But meanwhile,
Yeah,
maybe this
exactly.
person plays, let's say the weakest one, they play Dancer, but because they just understand, they're just shitting out damage. Now, Machinist is the quote unquote better class for damage, but they're not doing as well on it. What matters more to you now? So again, it's the
Yeah.
misunderstanding between what is like optimally the best and what is the best for that person. To put another way, like I said, Dragunov is the best character in Tekken 8. He just is. I know Nina won, but there were like 2 Ninas in Evo and there were like 18 Dragunovs, so Dragunov's the best
Yeah,
character in the game.
exactly.
I could pick him up right now and I could do okay, but I'm not going to do as well as on my Lily, which I've been playing since the game released. So
Hmm. Yeah.
people get so bogged
Yeah.
down in like what they have, like their ideas, that they refuse to open their eyes and see what is happening. Literally missing the forest for the trees.
Yes, 100%.
To uh expand just a little bit more with Dolit's Dolit's I had the word but I forgot it. To continue on Dolit's words, people, even the most casual of people, when they sort of get into raiding, whether it's normal raiding or savage raiding, people understand Dance's partner. They understand Red Mage's Emboldened. They understand Dragoon's Battle Lily. They understand Dark Knight's TBN. What they don't understand is whether or not, oh, and Ninja's, obviously Ninja's Trick Attack.
Right.
People understand that, right? What people don't understand is whether or not to just simply use them as soon as they are up, or hold them till after the phase transitions for whatever reason, or to slow down DPS to for again for whatever reason. Because these
This is kind of
tactics have
specific, though,
happened in
isn't
the
it?
past. Pardon?
This is kind of hyper specific, though, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm just expanding upon your
Yeah,
explanation that
he's
people
expanding your
don't
point.
understand the reason why a team is meta. They just see,
Right.
oh, they have a dragoon, they have a dancer, they have a red mage,
Okay.
they have a ninja.
Yes.
It's because let trick attack, led battle, it's led party buffs, but people don't understand. It's not just the party buffs; it's also the timings of the party buffs as well.
It's also the player's skill and knowledge that play effect in there
Well,
too.
that also goes into what I'm saying by like,
Yeah, so that's why
yeah, yeah,
I was rewording what
yeah,
you were
yeah,
saying. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So like I said, 14 maybe not be the best example because like I've watched our world first race. All of the teams aren't one for ones. There are differences.
Hmm.
Well,
So,
yeah,
but I mean,
because
I
the world
know
first
like in
race
other
usually happens too quick to establish a meta. So that's a fair point.
Mm.
um, but it's like I know it's a problem in like some other games that have similar scenarios of world first kind of things. So I think at once upon a time Destiny had that issue too, where they may have been back in Destiny 1. I don't know. Uh, where they were like, yeah, if you're not using this
Oh, it
combination,
absolutely was. If you're using a hunter,
Fucking
you have
rocket
to be
launcher.
using this exotic armor piece, and we expect you to be using one of these 2 or 3 exotic
Yeah.
weapons. Yeah,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
the,
Yep.
it happens in every game. If there's options, there is the best option, and it will be expected of you.
Yep.
but if anything to take away from us complaining about meta, it's hey guys, just they're video games. They're meant to have
Just so,
fun. Just have
just
fun.
so.
Like seriously, just enjoy the game. And if you're enjoying the game is doing things the most refined and optimally, that's fine. Don't push that ideal on other people because that's not how they enjoy the game. Maybe like chill. There's your lesson. Chill. Why do you have a lesson all of a sudden? I don't know because I decided you needed a lesson.
I mean,
I don't know why I worded it as a lesson, but you know what? I think the internet could hear that a few more times. Just chill, all right?
right. That
Just chill.
that being said, though, with the rooms that the beach, I wish I was at a beach, at the Bleach Brave Souls co-op, they because the way they word their rooms harshly, it kind of does deterrent new players from coming into the room so they don't have to kick him out. Because that's what ultimately, like people don't want to kick people out, but they will if they have to. So if they deter new players from getting into a room and just waste everybody time, then like
Yeah.
it's like I don't know, it's like it's one of those like beware signs, and then if you see and read the beware sign and then continue to go into it, that's kind of your fault, not the asshole's fault at that point.
I mean, to be fair, yeah, like if like because I have been in rooms on Brave Souls where I've joined because it was like, hey, bring bonus character only.
Mhm.
Brought bonus character. Person joins without a bonus character, and guy is trying to be nice,
Yeah,
like, hey,
yeah,
use a bonus or leave, dude. They don't change, and then they have to kick them.
yeah.
So
It like
at that point, it's
it's
it's it's the that person that's joining despite the host requesting don't do it that's being the asshole.
there's never an insta kick. It's always, hey, please switch if you have a bonus character. If they ask 3 times, if they give them 3 times, then they
Now, hold
kick it.
on. There are insta kick assholes out there because I have also joined rooms where I have the character, but I had forgot to change to that character, so they insta kicked me before they even
Okay,
waited to
okay.
see if I
Well,
changed it.
I'm assuming that's not the vast majority then.
It's probably not, but I mean there are those people out there
Right.
too.
But
So
yeah, it's just one of those like you saw the sign, you read the sign, but you still continue on, and at that point that's your fault. But I understand where you're coming from, where I wish there was a filter between the casual rooms and then the boosted rooms, because I'm also sick of getting nothing but boosted rooms and I can't join them because I just don't have the characters for it, and I would
yeah,
like the yeah.
it sucks. It sucks. It's one of those things. Like I think the wording people use in those rooms could be better. Like where they're like boosted or kick or boosted in links or
Yeah.
kick or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
I think the fact that
50%
they
plus
have to put
blink or kick, whatever fuck, yeah.
yeah, I think the fact that they have to put kick is unnecessary. Like I think that's being kind of assholey. But I also realize there are those assholes that even though the host is requesting that you only use this, they come in anyways and try to run even though the guy person girl whatever is like trying to host is like, hey, I don't I only want this
Yeah.
and you are doing this. So I understand that not everybody that does it is an asshole, but it is really aggravating
Mhm.
like when that is the majority of what you see. So
Yeah, like literally it's not it's not so much as telling the community to clean up the act, it's more so telling the devs, "Hey, give us a fucking filter to filter out, you know, whether we want to be in a casual room or a boosted room, like what they did in Dissidia."
I said
I
it
think
before. I'll say it again. I'll say it as many times as I have to. When it comes to this, the devs paying attention is a big part of this. And like again, this isn't even really so
absolutely.
much meta. Like now we're getting into transparency, or frankly, even just awareness of the dev team on
Mhm.
the game they're
yeah,
playing, and specifically on the community that they're fostering. Uh,
Yeah.
Keeping an eye on that lets you get ahead of a lot of things. A, you get to find out what the meta seems to be, because what we see as like the optimal way or any way to look about this game might be different than the vision the devs had. And then
Right.
also by paying attention you get to see what the repercussions of this system you've created are, and if
Mhm.
there are unforeseen issues, aka, you know, means by which we now get into fights over silly pedantic shit. So
Mhm.
and yeah, 100% that. And to Bleach's credit, uh, the people that make this game, K-Lab is the studio. Um, they looked at the community and were able to figure out, oh, so that's what makes characters good in the community's eyes. That's what makes them excited to summon for characters, and they built on that, and that's how they got to the point where you can tell what a good character is now very easily
Yeah.
because they realized what made a good character based off of the community reaction, and so they learned how to design characters a little better based off of that character,
It's
the community
it's
reaction to
it
characters.
yeah, it's kit
It's
and the
it's
passives and all that
yeah,
shit.
the passives, the how like certain things, because they used to make characters that were like combination of ranged and physical, and cut characters that had both like uh special damage enhancements and normal damage enhancements,
Hmm.
and it's like those characters never jived with people. But then when they had a character that was all ranged and it had only special damage enhancements, people were all about that.
Yeah.
And they realized, oh, that's what people like. All right. And so that's how, they've gotten to their character design, like they know how to make characters, and they're able to use that to, make new characters for new styles of content in a good way to continue to excite people.
Mhm.
They did good there, but when it came to their problem that they created with these like the link character things,
Oh god.
like they gave characters with the bonuses to drops.
Yeah.
So they're like, how do we fix this? Got it. We'll give characters that have that as their link ability, so you can use them on any character, and then you don't have to have the bonus character. I see where you were thinking. No, now you just made it where people are like, all right, now you need to bring a bonus character with the bonus links as well, so you have even more bonus.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, well, we just made the problem worse.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So, they did good one time, failed another. I don't necessarily think they play their game, so to speak, as Dalit was saying. Like, I think devs playing their game is a big part in how to avoid these
I want to say
problems.
that's a whole nother
Uh,
podcast.
Yeah, that's a whole nother podcast.
Meta can't live without them. Can't live without them. Can't live with them. Can't live without them. There we go.
Oh, okay, I thought that was intentional. All right.
Yeah. No, I'm just
any,
fucking. I'm just. I have problem in brain. I can't speak. I don't know why I'm here in this
Hey, man,
podcast.
if you had rolled with it, we would have thought it was intentional.
Shut the fuck
It's
up.
true, actually.
Yeah, because that was funny. I thought that was legit intentional.
Damn. Ruins my own joke by correcting myself.
Closing thoughts from either of you?
I've said this many times and I'll keep on saying it. Hey, Square Enix, if you want to make a proper fucking Dissidia game, please do it.
I think ever since like episode 2 or 3, where we talked about Opera Omnia dying, that's been just something that's saying nonstop. And I'm the one that was crying that episode. So
I was just expecting a meta reference, and no, fair enough.
he'll take any chance he gets to yell at Square Enix for the city to come back.
It also doesn't help that, what was it, like yesterday I posted a fucking Twitter post that's was very reminiscent of Duodecim's fucking cover art or splash
True.
art or whatever. And it
Oh,
was fucking Dark Souls
give us a-
characters. Or from
give us a fighting game with souls and souls-like bosses as characters.
Yeah.
Oh, that.
And then we started talking about.
We should make an episode about that. Let's plan that game out live on an episode.
Unironically, yeah, because we already have 2 fucking characters. Fucking Taurus is obviously Cloud. Lady Maria is Nimble Gabaranth. Fucking Melania is Sephiroth. Like, it'll be easy.
Yeah, future episode. Look forward to it. Dalit, anything from you?
Don't be a dick. Don't be a dick. It's just why are you mad? It's just game.
It's true. It's just game. As always, everybody, we appreciate you hanging out, listening to us ramble. If you have thoughts on meta, if you have opinions, you can always leave those in the comment sections on YouTube or Spotify. It's in both places. And if you don't want to leave comments there, you can always leave comments to us on Twitter. You can add us at Celestia Radio PD, or you can use the hashtag AskCRP, where you can leave your thoughts or topic ideas, and maybe we'll pick your topic to talk about. We've been saying that for a lot of episodes. Y'all ain't giving us topics. Come on, guys, throw them at us. I'm not saying that because we may or may not be running out of them slowly. Who knows?
No.
That's probably not true, as we just came up with the topic, at the end of this episode. But y'all don't need to know that. Y'all didn't hear that. So we appreciate you all for listening.
And
as
keep that
always. You all are appreciated as always. Remember to tell your friends, pass it along, and we will see you all next time.
Take care, everyone.
Be good now.